we are working in ClaroLab. ClaroLab is a software company that has been providing testing services for years, and in ClaroLab basically we have been building a lot of scripts, lot of processes, and it was always hard to keep up with agile methodology, so we keep building things, and few years ago we started to collecting all them and started building the product. And well, t-Triage has most 6 months on the road, and it is getting good results on how the automation and agile methodology and testing is getting along well. So basically, why t-Triage and why it is important, and for who? t-Triage is only important if you really care about automation. If you don't care automation, then t-Triage won't be helpful. It will add procedures that you don't need it. But well, that's why it's t-Triage. I mean, if you put automation, it means that you need to validate some features. So you need to create more tests. You need to create more tests to cover some features. This automation needs to run every day. If you run them, you need to validate them. It doesn't work just to have the test and not validating. If that's the case, you don't have any purpose to run just the automation. So what's nowadays? We mostly have this feature in mostly every product, where we can see that some reports that saying how many pass and how many failures we have. Everybody can say, okay, yeah, you're very good at automation, you're excellent. You only have 5 mistakes and 36 that maybe it's just 1% of your total test, so this is great. But really what we are wondering and we are trying to answer with t-Triage are all these questions. So about these 5 tests or about this 36 tests, do you have any product bug? Have you checked them all? How many people was involved in validating all these tests between all your testing automators? Have you equally distributed all the load? And let's say someone goes into holidays, does the knowledge still stay on the product? You keep it? What's, for example, then you identified automation errors. Do you report them? Okay. We have a lot of reporting tools, but those are live, those are get automated. Well, all these answers are the ones that we are covering in t-Triage. So mostly, in an overall, we care about the team, how to distribute tasks, work efficiently, how to deal with test failures, how to test with automation issues. We also provide ways to automatically triage them. Manual test cases, of course, we also have that. And the trends, of course, the insights are really important. So what is triage means? I think that the term is a bit, you know it from triaging bugs, but also that applies to automation. So you have one test, and what about that test that is failing? Does it have a product bug? Does it have an automation bug? What's the knowledge behind that? So the goal is that you put this information in t-Triage, and this will help to not only get organized in this current execution, but also for the future, and you will get advantage of it. So let's start seeing the application a little bit. First, I want to share that you have a site that is the demo triage. let's go to our website. From our website you can try the features, and you can also go to this summary, and you can go from there to the demo triage. The demo site has a username and password that is written over there, and you can try. This site is every day restored, so you can play and add whatever you feel. So what's in this page? Here what we have is like all the tests that are coming from, let's say, any of your continuous integration tool. Let's say, for example, Jenkins or Circle or Bamboo. We have a lot of integrations with those external continuous integration systems, and there are new that are pending, but still it's in our target to cover them all. So basically you here see the same mostly than Jenkins, but with the difference that we have now a deadline, so we know when this test has to be validated. You have a priority, you can get what's first and what's next, and also you can have assignee to the, and here you can see also different folders that group several test suites. And you can see, well, again, that this suite, for example, was already triaged, meaning that all the failures were already analyzed. Both suites has a great priority, they were for the same person. And well, of course, you can change assignees, etc. So mostly presentation, and then, okay, you have a test suite that contains tests, and we need to analyze those failures. Here you can see a Kanban, or a sort of like Kanban, where you need to move all these cards to the right one. On the filters you can have automated things that the product already done for you. So for some reason the product considers that these tests that are failing aren't things that you need to analyze. It already knows that these are not product bugs. That is the final goal. So in this page what we can see is new fails. These are tests that have been always passing, and suddenly it fails. You can see that in this graph. Also you can see failures that sometimes has been passing and sometimes not, so they need to be analyzed, but in a different category. We consider that new fails in general are tests that has failed and probably they have a product bug. I mean, automation is, after all, about that. Verify that we don't have product bugs. And new pass, those in general are good news, are kind of tests that has been always failing and suddenly it passed. So mostly we don't have much to do about them, but probably we'll need to notify someone or close some external ticket, etc. And well, basically the idea is to move the things to the right, to triage down column, right? And so you move all, and that will mean, when after you move all, that will mean that sorry, I got distracted. When you move all the tests to the right, that will mean that all the test suite has been analyzed, so nothing else to worry. That means that the test was analyzed, and if there was a bug, you probably will need to file that in an external tool like Jira, etc. So how do you triage those things? The goal of this page is that, for one hand, you have all the analysis on the test. You have the steps, you have information, stack trace if there were available, past information from the test. Let's see another, if this is more interesting. Exactly, it contains a null pointer exception, so you can analyze why this test has failed in the past. And you can also see the deja vu errors. Sometimes the same mistake exists in a different test. So here you have all the other tests that contains the same error, and also here you have deja vu test. That means the same test that is failing in a different place. For example, you have a different test suite that is running the same test, the create user, and okay, here in our suite it has failed. Okay, what happened in the antivirus test? It has passed. Okay, so you have information to analyze and detect more easily if this is a product bug or not. And after that, you need to complete the information below. That is, what about the product functionality? I mean, your product really has a create user issue. So if it's not working, you need to file it in your external tool and then associate it. For example, you can say, okay, I have filed it in the Jira, blah 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 blah, and this is a blocker, for example. So what's about the automation? The automation can be also contain some error or not. And in this case, if your test contain error, you will need to fix it eventually. So what's the priority behind that? Let's say this is a P2. So you can save progress or just to do triage done. Remember that we were with the create user, so here it is. We already triaged it. So let's quickly review the beginning. We see the content. We see that there are still 2 failures to analyze, and you manually triage 2 things, and we're already automated triage to 2 things. So let's continue with this. Let's say here we can see that let's say that this is running and it was just an internal environment issue, and okay, we can also answer some stuff. We can say that this is some comment for future. And triage done. Okay, that means that we have completed all this stuff. Here we also have information on how the build has run in the past. And what is useful and important, that at this point you have everything done, and that the application has helped you with 2 things. Has auto triaged 2 stuff before for you. The application contains more than 60 rules that let you auto triage things or not. So what does it mean? For example, you see today that you have an automation issue, an error in your code. That means that tomorrow you will have the same if you don't fix it. So you don't need to triage it again. It will just go. So what happened with the test that we said it was a bug? It is listed here. So here we have all the tests that I assigned to me and are here. So one of the common questions is why we don't file that in Jira or some application. The reason is that we file the automation here because we know exactly what is going on with your test on every run. So let's say in Jenkins or whatever tool you have, the test failed and tomorrow it start passing for any reason, because you made the fix or whatever. So Triage will notice and will automatically start closing this ticket. As you can see, we have hide passing. Triage won't consider that you... Let me see if we have a sample here. No, but the Triage, if it detects that it has one pass, it say, okay, it is passing, it's not fixed. It will be considered that it's fixed after 4 runs, let's say, with continuous passes. After that, okay, yes, that will be a good test. And after 10 or 15 passes, the test will be considered solid. That means that this test really is a good one, and if it starts failing, then we will need to care. Of course, all these values are configured. And this is mostly about the automation part. And the application, as you can see, I don't have anything else to do for today. There is this triage, but this for this week, so I don't need to worry much about it today. And it reminds me that I can fix some automation. Also, the application contains inline help and recent activity of what has been going on. And I don't know if we have enabled the chat so you can make questions, but if not, you can send emails and I will answer them. Let's start with the inside part. Here you can have summaries of the product health, how the product is performing, how your team is doing, automation engine, how many exceptions do you have, what's the rate of them, and this part is still on demo, so I'm not going to show. And also you have a creation. You can start adding things to create. This is the union between manual testing and automation testing. But before going to the manual testing part, let me show you a little bit the admin panel. The admin panel, basically you need to create your product, what's the name of your product, the connection, you still here put the connection, again bamboo, circle, etc., where you will need to specify your username, password or access key, etc. And finally, what is mostly important for us are the containers. The containers are typically the views that contain your software, the views, the folders. Inside each view you contain a lot of test suites, where each test suite contains a lot of tests about it. And the interesting part is that you can define deadlines. So your product has a sprint typically. So how often do you need to validate the test? Every day, every Friday and Tuesday, whatever. And how many weeks? That's why you can contain different kind of views and different kind of options. It contains Slack integration, so you can have summaries, daily summaries, or notifications to a designee, or just to put that information to a channel every time there's a new build. Okay, let's go back. I hope it's clear now how it works, the automation, before going to the manual testing. let's briefly see the manual testing part. Basically, it contains a repository with all the tests that will be in the system, runs that are the test plan that you need to run, and the final view, what is the view that you are running and you need to make the pass or fail the test. I think the advantage of this application and this part that is very quick to analyze and do. The repository, basically the idea, you have here all the filters that will make you the life easier to get a subset of them. You can exclude things, or you can duplicate based on past, and then you finally check them and add it to a test plan. So that's simple. And in the run at the end, you have them, and you have here to execute. Okay, and we are mostly covering the time. I was just willing to mention here we have like a sort of global view of how this works, the triage. Also, we have a Jira integration, so this is really useful to get a dashboard with the status of the automation. Basically, it's this page that is displayed in a gadget in Jira. So you open this tool for everyone. Here you have a lot of videos and explanation, and well, we are very glad to receive questions, and you can try this feature, try this tool, feel comfortable, still start analyzing how it fits in your product, and feel free to request us another meeting and we can provide better details. I hope you enjoyed the meeting, and see you. I think this will be the end of the meeting. So thank you for listening and staying there. Bye.